I first kind of wanted to start with a big, broad question about finding your characters, because another actor explained this to me this way, and I've gotten a little obsessed with the idea that when you start a new show, it can be scary because you're on unstable ground trying to figure out a new character. But then you have that moment where you do something and you know to your core, you have just found who they are. Did you have that with these characters? And if so, when?
That's a good question.
For me, it was weird to find, because actually the thing where you find out who Tula is played by another actress.
She's so good.
I know, it's annoying, isn't it? Damn her. No, Emma, thank you for giving me the scenes I needed to build Tula.
Yes, I have to say I feel similarly, that Jessica what she embodied was the rage. The absolute rage that could burn down the world of, and that, as an older woman, Valya has learned to control that, and channel it and use it. But it's there, it's firing everything.
I'm going to come back to some of that in a moment. But another thing I really wanted to ask you both about was the value of a good scene partner. And the two that I wanted to focus on were Jade and Chloe. And here's my nice and complicated way to get at that. So in the show, their characters are your characters' favorites. And when you have a favorite, I imagine that helps you reach something in your own character, given that relationship. So what's something about the two of them as scene partners that I guess helped you find something in your own characters via that connection?
I think in Theodosia, Jade's character, Valya sees somebody who is absolutely devoted to the cause, who will sacrifice everything for the sisterhood. Sisterhood above all. She is the one who can really deliver that. And she does to her what was done to Valya by Mother Raquella, which is, I see you, you're special, come with me. Put yourself to the use of the mission, and it's a very dangerous thing to do, to tell somebody that they're incredible and powerful and important and part of the destiny of mankind. And she, it's a recruiting tool and it's very powerful. And Theodosia not only repays it with, a great sacrifice, but also an act of love, which is to appear to her as her brother, who is the great loss and love of her life, who all the rage, all the fury, all the heart, the frozen heart that she has, it's all about that.
It's one heck of a reveal at the end of episode 4.
One of the main things that I experienced as an actor working with Chloe Lee was I'd better step up my game. She's like such an incredible actress, and her youth and she seems so much younger sort of physically than she actually is, but the wisdom of her performance. So she raised the bar, and when we had a scene together, I had to play every complexity of I had a drama teacher who was old enough to be Prussian. So look it up. And he's had this wonderful phrase. He said to me, "Ducky, your subtext is showing." And I could not show my subtext with Chloe because she was so clever. She would read it like that. And so to play the big scene I had with her, which is, come and visit your mom, it's going to be great. But I'm using you to, I had to play the sincerity because any chink in the armor, she'd have been on it.
Good way to describe that. I'm not going to stop thinking about it. I have so many things to follow up on. The first thing that crossed my mind, Emily, because you brought up Mother Raquella, just a little more of a theory question, but it's something that I keep thinking about. If Mother Raquella didn't call her to her deathbed and kind of speak into existence that she wanted her to lead, do you think she would have followed the exact same path?
That's a very good question. I mean, first of all, we had Cathy Tyson in that role, and to us, she's an icon. Yeah. She's an absolute legend. So that was a very powerful thing anyway. I don't know. I mean, when she was earlier in the story, when you see in the flashback in episode 3, you see her. There's the moment that all this I found terribly powerful and disturbing, when all the sisters have been told they're only allowed to return inside to take their place in the sisterhood if they swear allegiance and say sisterhood above all, and she can't do it. And that's the moment. And she's got all this kind of explosion of fear and doubt. And that's the moment when Raquella really sees her and goes, you're special. And so the deathbed scene is a confirmation of that. But I think it's already been planted.
Oh, that's such a good scene to specify. That episode is exceptional too, with how it jumps timelines and how well woven everything is together. I did want to follow up on Theo's power a little bit. I am curious because as far as I know, when you sign on for a show like this, you only get a couple of scripts and then you learn more about your character along the way as you make it. So what was your very first reaction to finding out what Theo does for her, and how did that change the character for you?
I'd sat down with Alison, the showrunner, and been given a sort of a bit of a heads up on who, what all the relationships were. So I knew that was coming down the pike, even though I hadn't seen the script yet, that she was uniquely useful. Theodosia is clearly a brilliant embodiment of all these kind of powers that we had, and that she can do shapeshifting, which is an extraordinary skill, but that also her background made her, that it was an incredibly, they were the product in the Dune universe. Those people are the product of a kind of megala type scientific experiment. And so her background is abusive. And also she's a wanted person, in the Imperium. She's in great danger. So she finds refuge in the Sisterhood. All of those things make her a perfect victim, really, of my ambition and recruitment. So it's a pretty powerful tool.
Here's another thing that reveal was making me think about and wonder. So when the show opens, there's a VO from you, and you say, I'm going to butcher this, but you say something to the effect of, is there more truth in history or prophecy?
Right.
And initially I would have assumed prophecy, no brainer, but given how tethered she is to her own history, do you think it's that black and white for her, really deep down?
I think there's a sense that prophecy casts itself as something that's kind of God-given. It's a vision of the future that is inspired by some divine power. But actually, what prophecy is in their universe is manipulation. It's us. We're going to sow seeds that then look like they're, great, inspiring events.
Tell them it isn't real.
It's controlling the narrative. That's what prophecy is.
So, Olivia, I'm going to ask you a somewhat similar question about learning what happens to your character in episode 3. Is that something you were told about in advance? And if not, when you found out what Tula did in her youth, how did that change the character for you?
I'm very bad at reading scripts. So I was in a movie once called The Sixth Sense. And I remember watching it and go, he's dead?
No.
I'm really stupid.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I didn't know. But, it was a bit like that. And so, it took me a few goes. What happens in episode 6, I literally was going back through it going, what? Wait, hang on a goddamn minute. So, yeah. I'm very gullible, very easy to surprise. Yeah. It all came as a shock.
So given the fact that your characters both kill someone in episode 4, I'm curious to hear how your answers to this question might differ. How do they carry these particular kills with them and the fact that they're responsible for them going forward? Or is it a matter of like, I did what I did and just moving on?
I think for Valya, yes. I think it was necessary. Anybody who threatens the mission needs to go. The fact that it's fueled by vengeance and family vendetta is beside the point. But Valya is really a shark. She just does what is necessary, and any other considerations are.
Yeah, it's this question of, if you do something dreadful and then feel bad about it, does it make you a better person? I don't, it's like,
in a way,
feel really-
Valya's more honest, I think.
every time I use a sort of single-use plastic, I feel really bad about it, but I still drink the water. Do you know what I mean?
That's a more important thing. I was thinking, like, every time I use a restroom and don't change, like, the roll of toilet paper when it's empty.
You don't
like,
do that.
No,
How?
of course I do that because I would carry the guilt with me forever.
No, I mean, but it's the hypocrisy of the bleeding heart liberal, but I'm going to stick with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, it does make you, if you do something bad and you feel bad about it, you're a better person than someone who doesn't.
My heart for the two of them right now.
I just canceled myself. Oh, God.
So given how much has happened through episode 4, I'm curious for both of your answers with this particular question. At the very beginning of the show, what do you think your character feared the most? And now, given what has happened, is that fear something else?
Fear is a very, very loaded word in this show.
That it is. This is why I ask.
My character's the nerd, and she says that fear, a bit like rabies, is, it's something's going on with your biome. It's like they're tracing, gut bacteria to depression. It's like this fear that runs through them all is infectious.
It's kind of fear is in a way, if there's the main baddie, the main protagonist in this show, it's fear. And that's what we have to get past.
And it's so relevant today because we are all being persuaded, this week particularly,
Yes.
to be afraid and to act out of fear.
All too true. To end on a positive note, I've become a little obsessed with this idea because I was just talking to a director who heavily highlighted how exciting it was for him to see his cast and crew take such pride in their work and have such joy on set. So for each of you, can you call the particular moment of making Dune Prophecy that brought you the most joy as an artist?
I think the very first few days we had with all the girls in the Sisterhood, and there was like a tent by the side of the set where we all gathered, and it was so overwhelming. It was like having my teenagers' friends over. Just overwhelming sense of excitement and joy, and that has really lasted. We've managed to make a company of proper friends, and that's a really gratifying part of our job, is to lead that sense of, we're all here for each other, we look out for each other, and it's a really nice thing to be able to do.
We had a great makeup bus on this. The woman called Kate Benton ran hair and makeup. She designed the show. And honestly, you can tell how good the acting is going to be on a show by the atmosphere in the makeup bus. And it was a great playlist and phenomenal creative people. And I literally looked forward to going into the bus and just hanging with the people, whoever they would be. There would be guests, coming over, guest actors coming over from London for a day. And it was just, I think that's a very good litmus test for how it's going to go.
Oh, so true. I will say huge congratulations on episodes 1 through 4.
Thank you.
I'm just dying to see more right now.
Good.
I don't trust anyone.
No, don't, ever.
Good
Thank
plan.
you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you.